Okay, so we're going over to a new column in the Nova, but if you notice, this one doesn't have the ignition switch on it. So we're going to try and fix that in an interesting way. Stick around. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. And we were taking the old column out because it used to be a column shift, and just trust me, it needed to go. This is also a tilt column. Picked this one up off of eBay. It's about 300 bucks. Now, as I said, does not have an ignition switch on it. Not a big ordeal. I did a video on how to hotwire your car. I'll throw a link up in the corner. But what we're going to do is replace what I've got in there, which is a toggle switch and a push button, with this little unit right here. It's about a $25 unit. I will throw a link down in the description below from a company called EasyGuard, and it creates or gives you a push button, start, stop, engine, and then it uses RFID. Now they do have models that have transistors, no, not transistors, what would you call them? The key fob, passive entry kind of thing, where you just have to have a key fob in your pocket, and then if you had electric door locks, it would unlock the door whenever you get close, and then whenever you're sitting in the car, it will activate your start-stop button. This one uses RFID, which is a very close requirement. If you've ever had security doors where you have to wave your badge on it, these work the same way, and so it comes with a ring that you can mount somewhere, and then you just put your RFID chip, or it comes with a card also, and technically you could program the RFID code from these into about any device that has RFID, but it has to be held within proximity, an inch or two of this scanner. So we can mount this scanner about anywhere in the car, underneath the carpet or something where we know where it's at. We use this to activate it, and then it'll allow us to use this start button to start the car up. This has all of the relays and stuff inside of it that we're going to need, so we will have start, stop, then we'll have accessory or on mode like you would with the key, and then it ties back to your brake pedal status. So you have to have the brake pedal pushed in order to start the car. If the brake pedal is not pushed, it'll just turn it into accessory or on mode. And because it does have accessory versus on, there's a couple different circuits that we want to look at whenever we install this, because the accessory circuit is going to be the one that runs the radio, things like that. The on circuit will run the fuel pump and the fans in this case, because we just have the electric fans turning on as soon as the car turns on. We'll change that later on, but for now we want to make sure and differentiate that. And we already have on the circuits. Whenever we went through the hot wire in your car, we actually hooked up 2 of the 3 circuits that we needed to get the car running. The car ran, but I didn't have the fuel pump on circuit attached at the same time. So technically the car would have eventually died, but we're going to solve that. A nice thick harness that's going to go out to all of those connections here will plug directly in. And the cool thing about it is, from what I can tell, this harness right here, which is going to be our main harness, is the same for the passive entry. So if we want to upgrade to the passive entry, which is about 70 bucks down the road, we should be able to just swap this module out, go over to the passive entry with the key fobs. But let's take a look at what's in place now, and then we'll dive into wiring up the main harness. Okay, as I said, nothing fancy. I just needed something, and literally this thing's just Velcroed to the bottom of it. I needed something to be able to test things out until we got our final product in there. So this is easy. We'll be replacing this, and I think we'll end up putting the switch up here in the place of the driver's side AC vent, since we don't have AC on this setup. Have a nice push button start right there, and it'll fit in between these edges. So it'll be a clean installation when it's all said and done. But for now, we're just going to temporarily install it and test it out to make sure it does everything that we want it to. So here's all of the wires that I've extended from the main harness over to my switch setup. It is not the best because I was using spade connectors on here. Once again, this was all kind of a temporary solution. We could use spade connectors again, but we've got, I got a lot of red wires here, but they're actually labeled, so I've got ignition 1 accessory. So this orange one and this ignition 1 are going to be the ones that are on the on circuit, then our accessory. Actually, I'll have to double check, because we may want ignition 1 and accessory on the on circuit. Then the orange one is the one that goes back to things like our fuel pump and our, actually no. Now that I think about it, this is just for climate control, maybe the radio. So, and then ignition 1 should be the one that goes back to our fuel pump. So we can actually kind of probably test some of this out pretty easily if I find a hot lead here and see if we can just touch them together. Okay, so that turns on the fan and the fuel pump. This black one is our starter wire. Not sure what our brown one is. Whoa! Well, that wasn't good. Hopefully we didn't just burn out a fusible link somewhere. Ooh, that whole wire got super hot super quick. Oh, I'm an idiot. That brown was connected directly to ground. Heads up, that brown wires are ground. Okay, so we know that one. Starter, ignition, and then we've got our orange one over here. We can just pull this one out. And this one I believe goes to our blower. We may have burned a fusible link though. Okay, there our blower's running. Okay, cool. Hey, by the way, don't hook power straight to ground. It's never a good idea. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so got our handy dandy little guide down here with our harness, and I just put spade connectors on this thing to temporarily wire this thing in. So let's look at what we got. We're going to start with yellow being our starter wire, which comes back to black on this one. Plug all these in. Verify operation. Brown is going to be ignition 2 wire, which I don't know. There's some notes on here. A little bit of this, some of this stuff can be a little hard to suss out. Ignition 2 wire is on when starting the car. Was on. Then when starting the car, it cuts off power to brown. So we want to make sure that ignition 1 is going to the white. I probably need to break these out whenever I do the final install, so I can sort that. And then what else do we need? Red is going to be our positive, our constant, of course. Go ahead, plug this one in. And then black is our ground, which is going to the brown, our fire starter in this case. And that may be everything that we need. I've got the push button mounted down here, or mounted, plugged in, along with our activation ring right here. And then this green wire that comes out is the one that goes to your brake switch. So I'll have to hook that up to start the car, because it's looking, it has to have 12 volts on here, which works nicely on this one, because the way the brake switch works is it is a normally closed contact, and then whenever it's made, whenever the pedal's back in the park position, it opens that switch up. So if we plug this thing in, it should power up. Let me take this zip tie off here so we can extend this out. And we'll just kind of put her right up here for now. Let me grab one of the fobs. Okay, it says that you hold this thing close to the ring for a couple seconds, you'll hear it beep. There it goes, it just beeped. Okay. So we're in auxiliary mode, and then off. And this thing stays active for like a minute, so we should be able to do it again. Okay, that's accessory. There's on. So as you can see, I don't have anything hooked up to the accessory right now, which is that, I believe, the brown circuit coming off our controller. That's what you're going to want to put your radio on, so you can listen to your radio without having the fan and fuel pump. So in this mode, as I said, we would be an accessory on. Now if we, there, I just deactivated it. Now we're activated again, and let's see if we can't go ahead and just jumper this. We'll throw this into a 12-volt power source. Okay. Now whenever we hit the button and hold it, it should start. There we go. Perfect. Everything seems operational, so I'm going to go ahead and dive in here, properly button this harness together, and then we'll do a review once I get everything installed. There we go. So whenever the thing is running like this, hitting the button's not going to turn it off. This is locked out to make sure that you don't accidentally shut it off while you're driving. You got to hit the brake, then hit the button. And then the module itself, after it has been toggled off through here, after I think 40 seconds, this goes back into lockout, in which you'd need to use your key again. Now you can also just go ahead and lock it directly straight away and nothing will happen. So now whenever it's flashing once like that, it means we're an accessory. We go into 2. Quicker flash, that's on. And I've got the fan on the accessory circuit. The fuel pump's on the on circuit. It's not kicking on right here. So I made a real quick change over on our accessory fuse box down here. The older cars, they have taps on them for ignition, battery, and accessory. And so we've got this one running off of the ignition one. So all of the devices on here will be on that ignition circuit. And then we move the radio to the accessory circuit. So now the radio's on. I don't know if you can see it over there. Yeah, so now the radio's on whenever we're in accessory mode. We go to on. Fuel pump, fan, everything else, gauges all kick on for on. And we go back to off, everything's off. So that's how we want to operate. Now it's time to clean up all these wires, bundle them together, get them up out of the way, and get ready to install the column. Okay, so a pretty cool modification. It's $25 and it works. You know, you could reverse engineer this and figure out how to do it on your own. This way we don't even have to do that. We can literally jump in the car, tag in, and just rock and roll, get down the road, and don't have to worry about the fact that we saved $700 on a column by getting one without the ignition built into it. Trust me, I got this thing off of eBay. It's a very nice column. It's no flaming river or I did it, but it's also a third the price of those. So, yeah, I'm going to get back to it. You know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning. I hear you down there.